But the question is, Broncos are overhyped heading into... Who thinks they're overhyped? Okay, well, maybe one of these three, well, maybe one of the other couple. Broncos are overhyped. Anyone buying that?
I am a bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll say it's not an easy pass back from the season that they just had off the back of the grand final loss. The way they lost that grand final, definite scars, and they never reached the consistency or the level following that at all last year. Now, you just can't flick a switch and turn it back on. I know Madge has gone up there and would have changed a lot about the way they go about things, but you just don't flick the switch. You got to go out there and earn it again each week and every week. And there's some teams who have shown that they were superior for longer and consistent periods.
I think as well that they are still a little bit fragile, especially after that loss in 23.
Well, you still think they're in mourning?
I do, and I still think the longer it goes on, sometimes the events of the future change how you feel about the past.
Yeah,
and the fact just how difficult it is.
And I'm not taking this to extract the urine. You've lost a few, so you know what it's like.
I do know what it's like. And then also, with Maguire coming in, some positional changes, Carrigan moving from lock to front row. Ben Hunt coming in, being a different style of ball player. Carrigan likes to ball play at lock and get the ball out the back to his halves. Ben Hunt's not that style of player. He doesn't particularly enjoy that role. So he's going to be on ball more. And there's a few things that if it doesn't go to plan, the fracture can become even deeper. And people start to point fingers and this new change. I liked it how it was. We could have got back to 23 with the old regime, the old way we play. It's not all going to be rosy. It has the potential to go well.
Good point.
Did they not look fit? I mean, I know trials we read nothing into, but we always say that, but there's always a couple of teams we think, oh, geez, that's Titans looked awful in the trials, and they played their full-strength side, basically, and Kieran Foran's injured. But did the Broncos not, if anything, look fitter this year than they have certainly last year? I
think it's hard to gauge off trial form, but there was a couple of examples last year that the game against the Dolphins, where it was their chance to maybe make the finals, they were clinging on to that. They just didn't look like they cared for each other enough.
All right.
And the one that intrigues me the most as far as this season is concerned, Madge, is it going to work at the Broncos? Will he have immediate success, do you think?
I think so. Yeah, I think they will have immediate success. I mean, what's success for the Broncos? We just spoke about Tigers' success.
Top four.
Top four is success to them.
Yep. I believe so.
I think so. I definitely think so. I think with the players that he's gotten up there now, Ben Hunt, I think adds just a huge addition, because you've seen when years gone past, when they've lost Reynolds, which they have the last couple of years for, whether it's a 6-week period, whether it's a 10-week period, there's an immediate drop-off in that side. I think having Ben Hunt there, I don't know what exact role he's going to play throughout the year if the whole spine's healthy, but having him there, if Reynolds goes down and he comes into that 7 position, I don't think they lose a heap.
Romantic storylines in sport go hand in hand. Ben Hunt going back to Brisbane and grabbing that competition he nearly won as a young player. A successful year is top four. If I'm Madge, I'm going top four. I don't believe the stories about rumblings come out of Brisbane about players being unhappy they're training too hard. Do you have them top four?
Yeah, I've got them top four.
I've got them winning the comp. I'll say that right now.
Wow, we haven't even got to it.
We'll do that later. I'm going to declare early that I think the Broncos can win the competition. Bang.
That's a big call.
The most important player is going to be Adam Reynolds. I know with Benny Hunt's going up there, and we've got Reece Walsh and we've got Paddy Carrigan. If you tell me right now Adam Reynolds is going to have a great year like he did year one up in Brisbane, then I absolutely back him to win the competition. Right. I say, mate, they win the comp.
Even without, I think Ezra Mann's out for the first 6 weeks, I believe.
Well, that's where Benny Hunt's going to be priceless. To come in there.
And
that's a really good experienced halves combination.
Well, they got good depth. Like even Billy Walters, who has primarily played 9 the last few years, is an outstanding half, and when he plays there as well. So he played there in week 1 of trials, and he played outstanding.
And young Jock Madden too. Young Jocks are good footballers, so they do have depth.
Let's get to round 1, which will start on Thursday. It is the Broncos and the Roosters. This is a big one to start the season for a number of reasons. The Roosters performed poorly in the trials, and the Broncos the opposite. How do we see this one?
I was always expecting the Broncos to fly the lids, as they say in greyhound racing, and start really powerfully, because Madge has worked their butts off in the off-season. I've been a bit critical of it, actually. Their army camps and players vomiting at training.
Oh, no, we did army camps and people vomiting. that's part of the course if you're a rugby league player and you want to, you know.
Look, I
push
was
the
getting
inner
word out
boundaries.
of the Broncos that they were.
I get that.
Yeah, but who cares?
So let's take it off.
Well, who
I think
cares?
if Kevy Walters. So I'm going to tell you something. If Kevy Walters was still coaching, they'd be close to favourites this year, right? They had 5 of their best players play 5 games. Broncos, right? I think they're going to hit the ground running. Ben Hunt, a bit more experience in the halves. All their young players are a year older. Katoni Staggs was brilliant last year, and Payne, Haas, and Carrigan, they've carried the torch. They've carried like the heavy load. So now, you know, all those young kids
But
that's
what's
what
the
they
roster
picked.
change to last year outside of Ben Hunt joining that side? And
He's a
obviously,
pretty
it's
handy
an
player, Buzz.
important signing there without Ezra Mann for a long period of time.
That's a top
again,
4
but
squad.
you guys,
Who cares? Who
No,
cares?
I tell you what I care
if
about.
players are complaining about how hard they're training.
I care that you're getting carried away about trial match form, which you just told me not to. And the fact they were good in the trial means absolutely nothing.
That's fine.
Okay, but just look at their roster.
That's a
But I
top
haven't
4
said
roster.
I haven't
It's
said
littered with
anything. All I
origin
said is
players.
why they
So
I
it's
don't
a
care.
top 4 roster that ran about 15th
Yeah,
or
and
well
that's
down
why
the
Kevin-
ladder
So what's
last
your
year.
prediction?
That's why the coach lost his job.
What's my prediction on
Yeah.
Thursday night? I think the Broncos will beat the Eastern Suburbs.
What's your prediction for the Broncos this year?
I don't
Because
think they'll make the top 8.
you think they'll miss the top
And that's
8?
just my opinion.
What's that based on,
Well,
Buzz?
why-
Can I get
what's
some on
it
that?
based on?
Yeah.
What I've
I've got
just
some
said,
US
what they've
dollars
done
here.
in recent years.
Would
I
you
don't
like to
care
have
whether you.
a little-
No, I'm not going to have a wager on
No,
it.
no,
at all.
like a dinner or
You
something.
asked
No,
me.
dinner.
Can I show
I'll
you
do a
dinner?
dinner with you.
Can I shout your
You
dinner?
asked me for an opinion on the Broncos.
I love your opinion.
Yeah,
right?
let's have a bet on it, mate, because I love you.
Well, are you in love with Madge now?
No.
Well, mate, you've jumped.
No, I'm
You
in
should
love
go
with
to
the
the
players.
Olympic Games for
No.
backflipping. Seriously.
No, give me a break. Give me a break. That's funny. That's so good. No, I'm in love with the players there, and I thought last year they were criticised, and I thought it was a bit unwarranted. I thought that the injuries coming off a grand final, and they probably didn't handle all that, but like how many players do with such
got
such
so
a
much
massive
strike,
disappointment?
Gordy,
But
in
if
their
you look
back
at their roster and you go, can that side win the competition? I go yes. The Roosters with the players they lost, Manu, Swaliti, Jared Hargreaves to me has been one of the most amazing front rowers to play our game. Like I think he's played the most games at the Chooks. Right, and a side that's been around. So to lose that, and then you got no Keary, and then Sam Walker's out. I think the Roosters, for some reason, are going to struggle a bit, and it's not because they're not good. It's because they've lost so many amazing players.
We're previewing round 1, and Chad Townsend and Sandon Smith in the halves doesn't give me a lot of confidence on the back of the very senior players that they have lost. But you asked for a prediction for the entire season, not round 1. I think the Broncos will win.
Yeah.
But I'm not convinced they're going to go all the way.
Yeah.
And I think, obviously...
No, but you're saying they missed the 8, not all the way. You're way off all the way. You're saying they're going to miss the 8. That's a big call. That's a big call, Buzz.
I think the Roosters, those two teams, the Roosters are more
Well, who do
likely
you
to
think's
miss
going
the
to
8.
miss the top 8, mate? There's
Not
17
Brisbane.
teams. They can't all make it.
I think
you
Brisbane
know?
will make it comfortably, yeah. That's just, again, that's just my humble opinion.
If you stack
Hands and heels.
those two squads up, the Roosters and Broncos up against each other, those two squads, the Broncos should finish light years ahead of the Roosters.
Yeah, but I
If you
always stick
stack
to my
those
thing.
squads.
The game's not played on paper.
I understand
and they've got to do the hard
that.
work, but like if you're looking at this, and I think Brisbane are going to have a great year, and I think the Roosters just with the talent, and it's, everybody thinks that I hate
What are
the
you
Roosters.
laughing at, bro?
I can see your
Am I
brain.
going to have to do the first of the season? Sorry for having an opinion. Like, come on, mate.
You know what?
That's the greatest.
I love your opinions because it just gives me great pleasure. Because we can look at this
God,
opinion in about,
Mate,
16
well,
weeks, 17
let's
weeks.
drag this out and
do you know what,
round.
right? I'm not old enough, but I would have loved to come here in the heyday, right? With the Rat Pack or whatever. You are equal to that. I'm the buzz around Vegas, right? Let me tell you
That's
something.
why
If,
everyone loves
if,
it.
if it's going to make you happy,
everywhere I
I'll withdraw
look-
the statement.
No,
so I'll make it
Everywhere I
happen.
look, you were like the Frank Sinatra. Right, if Elvis played it, you are the Frank Sinatra
You've signed a
of rugby
statement.
league.
Look, can I
one of the
say,
great
and
backflips.
this is no disrespect whatsoever to Madge, and I really mean that. I genuinely mean
You
it.
don't need to do that before
but
you
you
say
go back to the West Tigers, you go back to South Sydney, and he did lose the dressing room at those
but that
two
was after-
organisations.
that was-
What I want to say is I think Madge, what he did with the Kiwi side and what he did with the New South Wales State of Origin side over 8-week programs with elite players where you don't make them vomit, you don't take them to army camps, you don't, knock them into the middle of next week.
Yeah, but you know what? I think some of their players need that.
Do you see the difference, though? I'm talking
They'll be thanking him in a few months. That's my opinion. I reckon that, every player, there's always a few players in a club who complain and whinge and,
We've all had them.
We've all had them. And then, you know what?
And maybe they...
After, and I'm just saying, Buzz. And then what happens is
Where's our coach Mitch Diffin? Look at the yards we're doing. This is an army camp. We've been here for 11 hours.
The Melbourne Storm are notorious for their training sessions, taking guys to training camps and
But how many
camps.
fall off the wagon?
Well, occasionally they do. I'm sure they do.
There's a lot.
You want to talk about army camps? There's no army camp that's harder than the Melbourne Storms.
Okay.
And they're always in contention, Buzz. I don't think army camps got anything to do with